What's up everyone, this is Vaz with a casual gaming review of Wreckfest. And in this review I'm going to give you some background info on the game in case you're not familiar with it. I'll share my thoughts on it, and then I'll give it a score at the end. Now as for the background of Wreckfest, it has a long and interesting development history, but long story short, it originally released on Steam Early Access in January of 2014. This was after a failed Kickstarter campaign for a full release. It spent an additional 4 years in development, and then the PC version was officially released on June of 2018, while the PS4 and Xbox One versions were released a year later in August of 2019. Next-gen versions of the game were also released for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S in May of 2021. And finally, there's also a Nintendo Switch version in the works that has been delayed with no firm release date as of March 2022. If you've never played a Wreckfest game before, it's a racing game with a focus on realistic damage. In fact, there's a demolition derby mode, which is arguably the most fun aspect of the game. There's a fairly lengthy career mode, a custom mode with tons of options, online play, and tournaments where you try to set high scores and time-limited events. At first glance, there are quite a few different types of vehicles, but most of them are the usual generic cars you see in every non-licensed game. You won't see any real-world cars, unfortunately. There are, however, some really cool unique vehicles like a big rig, a motorhome, a bus, a lawnmower, and even a frickin' couch. As for the technical side of the game, it does have amazing damage physics, maybe the best I've seen in any racing game. You can literally see the cars disintegrate piece by piece. After a few laps of a race, you'll see tons of debris on the track from all the battling that's been taking place. The graphics overall are extremely polished, and the frame rate of the game is pretty solid. There's a noticeable difference when it comes to racing at different times of the day, although it would have been nicer to see more variety in the weather. Now let's talk about the gameplay. Being that Wreckfest is an arcade racer, it's extremely easy to pick up and play. The controls are very responsive. As you do start to use faster cars, the handling does start to get difficult, as it should, but with this type of game it ends up being a bigger detriment than other racing games due to the damage aspect. Mistakes are punished relentlessly, as one small bump into an opponent or object can wreck your car beyond repair. It's especially frustrating when you lose a wheel and you have to try and finish a race on 3 wheels. Sometimes it's actually impossible to even move your car, forcing you to restart an entire event. Now let's talk about the fun factor and lasting appeal. Speaking of crashes, they are indeed the most satisfying and thrilling part of the game. Even watching the AI smash into each other around you is just awesome. This means that the destruction derbies are easily the most fun events in the game. And that's what I kept looking to play anyways. There weren't enough of those type of events in career mode. There definitely needed to be more event variation and creativity in career. It starts off great but becomes completely uninspired. Some events later on require you to finish 12 laps, meaning you'll have to treat your car like a newborn baby and carefully make your way around the track in order to cross the finish line in one piece. Having to restart a race after 10 minutes is a downright pain in the ass. The online modes in Wreckfest are quite fun, but take too long to get going, and once you do finally get into a lobby, you'll be matched up against opponents who've been playing the game since day one, and have fully upgraded cars or pay-to-win DLC cars that could get stepped on by Godzilla or King Kong and not get dented. You definitely want to grind out some credits in career mode first in order to upgrade a decent car to the point where you can compete online. The game also has online tournaments in the form of weekly and seasonal events, as well as daily events for you to compete in, to try and post high scores in order to earn a currency that'll let you purchase special vehicles and items. It's something fun that keeps people coming back to the game, and it has seemingly created a solid community around the game. One thing that the game lacks in terms of fun factor and lasting appeal is a split-screen local multiplayer mode. This is exactly the type of game that would be old-school fun with a friend or a sibling. Imagine playing this thing with a little brother or cousin, it'd be awesome! Overall, Wreckfest does have a lot going for it, but there's also a lot of room for improvement if they were to ever do a sequel, and a sequel is something I would love to see from these guys. As for the score, I'm going to give Wreckfest 8 T-bones out of 10. Well, I hope you did like that review. If you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. Feel free to leave a comment down below. And as always, take care of yourself and do what makes you happy.